We have been talking about messages and information to do with the month of July. And now I want to introduce you to a lady I have a lot of respect for. Now, her name is Dolores Cannon, and she's not here with me, but she is on YouTube. She has a lot of information on YouTube. Now, there is, just so that you know, if you go and look on YouTube, there is a AI component now, and it spoils things for me personally because it is her voice sometimes, but it is not her words. And if you can access, and you can, I've done this recently, some of her very first YouTube videos that are up. There are audio ones as well where she talks about using tapes, cassette tapes, and having difficulty using discs, CDs back in the day. It was at a time she was in New Zealand actually, and she was in Wellington. But Dolores Cannon is someone she was around in the 60s. Very unusual to have people who were forward-thinking, open-minded, in an esoterical, explorative kind of way. And she never described herself that way. She described herself as a narrator, a reporter, that she would research things, that she would look at people and their lives. She and her husband were, at that time, which is also unusual, they were both using hypnosis in a different way. Now, back in the day, hypnosis was only used to quit smoking or drinking or to get past a bad habit. And both her and her husband were one day asked to, now this was, I've got to try and remember this correctly, so please, if I'm not right, that is me again. But it was her and her husband were asked to help a particular woman. And this was way back. This was before the 60s, I believe. And in their helping this woman with trance work. So it's hypnotizing somebody. You go into a trance. I don't know if you've ever been hypnotized yourself or if you've seen those shows on TV where people are hypnotized. They will do things they would never do in front of people in real life. And, it's like, I can remember one hypnotist, I think it was Paul McKenna actually, a very famous hypnotist himself, getting somebody to eat an onion and telling them that they were eating the most delicious apple they'd ever eaten in their entire life. And and they absolutely were enjoying this onion as if it was the most delicious apple. I always remember being really interested in that, and Dolores Cannon and her husband were fascinated with some of the things that this woman said while she was under hypnosis. And what Dolores Cannon said was that people, she started to use and develop a technique to use to help people with their phobias, with their health problems. because she said, make no mistake, you have caused this problem in your body. Your body is wired to heal itself completely and absolutely. So if your body has not healed, it is because of other things. Firstly, she says, ask yourself why you have caused this problem, this dis-ease, this injury. Ask yourself, sit with yourself, be quiet with yourself, as if you know nothing, because you don't, but accepting that you actually have caused this problem. Okay? Because healing happens the moment that you realize why. Okay? Now, she helped thousands of people in her life to heal. She would do workshops all over the world. She would get her greatest attendance in New Zealand initially and Australia for the workshops. And so in New Zealand, she has taught. I'd love to meet anybody that went to one of Dolores Cannon's workshops that actually practices her technique for helping somebody relax and go to a different state level. You know, we've got the alpha, beta, delta, theta states that we go to when we go to sleep. This is very natural. There's nothing weird, spooky about it. It is simply something we actually do. Our life has been very kind of boxed in. We only know some of what we're capable of, and we're taught that we can only do this and this. It is not true, people. And if I know anything, I know that July is telling you to kind of open your eyes a little bit more. So Dolores Cannon put this woman and her husband did as well through many different sessions of trance, and they discovered things, they learned things, they asked all kinds of information that came through this woman. Understand, knowledge is everywhere, okay? Source has all the knowledge contained within it. God, source, same thing, has all the knowledge contained within it. And if we were to connect with God, connect with source, then that knowledge is available to us. We have so many distractions in life, and that, my people, is the only reason that we don't receive that as a flowing communication all the time, because there's far too much that we need to pay attention to in this reality. Dolores Cannon catalogued, researched all the information she was given, and not just from this woman. They went on to discover many things with many people about, like Dolores Cannon would say, initially we thought we were going into past lives with these people. We were putting them into a relaxed state that they could go to a past life, and they could bring that memory forward of who they were in a past life, and every single detail, date, time, aspect of what they recalled was actually recorded, documented, proved. How does that happen, huh? Yeah. So Dolores Cannon became even more fascinated with the learning aspect of, the past lives. And then people would then go to different planets. This was unexpected, or different time dimensions, different, just different realities. And this was so fascinating to her that she has books. She has written so many books. And I'll tell you something, I'll give you, this appealed to me because this is how I used to describe the way that I spoke, the way that I talked, the information that I got was convoluted, okay? Now, she has written books called Convoluted 1, Convoluted 2, all the way up to Convoluted 6. So if you're curious at all to know what that is about, look at the books. So what happens is that in her life, in her learnings, she connected with streams of information herself that came from Source, God, but also from outside of those places. And don't believe anything that you don't want to believe. I'll say that to everybody. We are comfortable in our beliefs. I would just say be curious about what else might be possible. There is so much now that is being proven scientifically, kind of factually, absolutely. That always was seen as a little bit maybe psychotic, maybe crazy, maybe all of those things. And it's just not what it looks like. We are multidimensional beings. We have reality here, but we also have aspects of ourselves in other realities. You know this because when you dream. And that's when you're asleep and your body is lying down. But you could literally see yourself in a different part of the world. You could see yourself at a different time, like when they had cannons shooting off. And that's quite likely a past life memory that is surfacing in your dreams that is relevant to your life and your life situation now. And I get very convoluted in the way I say things, and I do apologise for that. I'd like to just expand a little bit more on Dolores Cannon as a person, because she is real. She is not a robot. She came up through generations where you were honest, truthful, and respectful, that when you talked about something, you had to truly believe in yourself to talk about it, because you were slandered, targeted, and others tried to derail you because you were not fitting into that conformity, that conventionalism, if you like. And, I see this going sideways in New Zealand, tall poppy syndrome, only in New Zealand. Why? I do not know why we do this to our absolutely uniquely special people that have been in our country, that are leaders in their own field. Dr. Tizard from years ago with the vitamin C to help cure cancer. And he was absolutely vilified. He was debarred from what I remember. And yet what do they do now? They know the benefits of it. We have had many heroes in New Zealand who have been struck down, vilified, angered against. And, I see some amazing people out there in the world where They're from New Zealand. They've done good work in New Zealand. They have been criticised highly in New Zealand, and they are out there being absolutely celebrated by the rest of the world. Are we incapable of seeing brilliance? New Zealand is the first country in the world to see the sunshine of the day. We are the forerunners to the new world, the new day, the new ideas, the new inventions, because we start the day before everybody else. And yet we do not give credit to the people who have these innovative ideas, leadership, everything. Anyhow, that was a sideways thing, and I'm sorry about that. We'll go back to Dolores Cannon and her work, because primarily through hypnotherapy and people giving her the information when they were under this or in this trance state, which is like a sleep state, all that information helped to heal that person of their phobias, of their physical diseases through guidance. And so it's valuable. Why aren't we always doing that? You know, we have one method and one method only of healing. Now, coming into this, you know, and it's been happening since the 80s, the natural healing, the alternative healing, the cultural healings, the energy healing, you know. Why not? Why not? We know we feel terrible when there's a lot of anger and ugliness around us. It can actually make us feel physically sick. We know this. So it makes sense. Energy can heal as well. So Dolores Cannon says your physical body has everything in it that is required to heal everything within your body. If you identify why you have done this to yourself, okay, and it can be self-criticism, it can be other things. If you can identify why you have done this to yourself, sometimes it's because you have not felt good enough, or you have felt an insignificant speck of nothing, as I did, then you start to heal. And by sitting, closing your eyes, and thinking, why on earth would I have done this to myself? Because life's tough. You've got other tough stuff you're dealing with. Why would you do this and make it tougher? Okay? The answer's there. All you have to do is get an inkling. But the more that you repeatedly sit and ask yourself that question, then give yourself a truth about what you know about your deservability, your kindnesses, your desires of wanting to help other people, and you feel those feelings, they too heal you. And they also change and release from your solid, dense body those hurtful, harmful things that you have told yourself. So, Dolores Cannon talked about 3 waves of volunteers. Now, she's written a book about this as well, that she said that there were 3 waves of volunteers. So this is people who came onto the planet as volunteers, okay? And they came in at different time frames. So she says they came in around the 60s, okay? Well, actually, no. After So let's say around the 50s, 60s. After the war, the volunteers came in a wave to help. These volunteers chose to help humanity, okay, to lift humanity up. As you can imagine, the war was very heavy. It was extraordinarily emotional. It was extraordinarily life-limiting. And the first wave of volunteers had it the hardest of all because they were trailblazers. They were the ones who actually were there to live their lives differently, to be inspiring, to help other people. And the first wave of volunteers did not want to be here. They did not want to be here. They did not want to be on Earth. They signed up for it, because we sign up for our lives, people. They signed up for it. They just had no idea what they were signing up for. Earth is a very dense energy. It is very difficult to live on planet Earth. And every person that is chosen to be here is extraordinarily brave beyond what their perception is about why they're here. So the first wave of volunteers had it really difficult. They didn't belong. They didn't want to be here. They didn't understand this life. They just wanted off, as in it just did not make sense. And they felt different. They felt like they were not special at all, but that they were the square peg in the round hole, that they were the one that couldn't integrate, couldn't be accepted. Their ideas, their thoughts, their motivations were very, very different to people at the time. And the second wave of volunteers, they came in, they'd be round about their, I don't know, 40s, round about there. I have to remember when this was written. But they would be the ones that would have said to their mothers, they had it easier, by the way, but they would have said to their mothers something like, I don't know, they might have only been about 3, you know, Mummy, I want to go home. They would always have the feeling that they want to go home, and they won't necessarily know why they're here. They will know that they want to help people, and simply by walking around, by being with the people they're with, by walking through the mall, they are like little energy beacons. They give out energy. And that's all they need to do. They don't actually have to do anything else. And the third wave, the young ones, it's like they know so much. Their DNA is already in line with all the new energies that are here now in the fifth dimension. Us older ones have to go through that adjustment period with our energy and getting into alignment with these more refined energies. And you know, we can explain these energies simply by that the sun is acting up, and it really is affecting everything around the atmosphere of the Earth and the Earth's kind of balloon, what do you call it, outer layer, and the Earth itself. So, you know, volcanoes, earthquakes, that kind of stuff happening is because it's directly because of the solar flares. So, but this is all this higher energy that we have got now, and we have been gearing up, we have been getting in tune with it, if you like, in line with it. And it's taken a little bit of time for some of us, but the young ones, the third wave of volunteers who are actually around about in their 20s, they're already tuned into it. They're already in line with it. So I was talking about Dolores Cannon because she is extraordinarily interesting to listen to. And if you listen to her from when she first started, there are audio tapes on YouTube of her when she first started, and she tells you about herself, her life, her hypnotherapy. She developed her own technique. She's taught it to a lot of people in New Zealand and Australia, and they would be older now. So yeah, like I say, I wouldn't mind hearing from somebody that actually did one of her courses. So through hypnosis, she gained information and knowledge. Now, have you heard of a man called Edgar Cayce, for instance? Also, please look him up, because Edgar Cayce himself would go into a trance. Now, he helped a lot of people. He actually opened a hospital that was for energy healing, alternative healing. And he got information given to him. It came through, channeled through from people, patients that he also helped to go into a trance. And they would come back with astounding information about themselves and their lives, as in past lives. I just would say to you, if you're uncomfortable with the thought of past lives, think about your ancestors. I just say it's just easier to go, well, I had a mother and a grandmother and a great-grandmother and great-great-great-great, and maybe these experiences I'm seeing are their experiences they had, because science tells us we contain memory in our DNA of our ancestors. That's why we have certain personality and character traits, you see, that our parents had. So, you see, it's all science. But Edgar Cayce, please, he is infamous. He was from earlier times than Dolores Cannon, way earlier, in the 30s. I think it was the 30s that I really need to brush up on my knowledge before I actually say those things to you. But so I give you the gift of looking up, learning about him if you're interested. If you're not interested, that's fine. I'm just saying this can help you understand that there is more to you than what you see, what you know. It's more than your mind, more than your emotions, more than your soul that you don't know a lot about. There's way more to you. And you are way more multidimensional than you can understand and appreciate. So therefore, you're fabulous, you're amazing, you're incredible. And there is an opportunity today, from today onward, to find out and discover more about yourself. It is a gift to have today. And I'm sorry if your day today is sad or uncomfortable in any way or stressful. What I will say is I know for myself that I have chosen to navigate or find a way to navigate through some of the most difficult experiences in life. I did not understand that earlier in my life at all. I just know without a doubt that that is what we are here to do, is to learn to navigate through it while keeping our dignity, self-respect, and that's where you can truly celebrate how you've handled something.